And welcome back to part 5 of What If Naruto Had a Zanpakuto, the Tenken edition. Last time we went through the entire Saiyan invasion arc. Naruto put Gaara in his place. All's well that ends well. Yes, the Hokage's dead. So Jiraiya would be taking Naruto out to find Tsunade at this point. Nothing would change there. He also says, they're going to teach you a really cool technique. And so there you are. By the way, you'll notice I'm not in the corner now. Because of the damn update on my computer, I would have to. There's like a button that says deactivate and reactivate. I have to deactivate the image or the camera and then reactivate it for me to be moving here. And I'm like, there's very few videos where I think that's necessary. There's very few videos I have where I do that. I actually need to be on screen, so I'm kind of going to start doing videos without me on screen as much. But back to the plot. Itachi and Kasami would show up. Nothing would change in terms of what happens in that plot point. They would still beat the hell out of Kurenai, Azuma, Kakashi, with Guy kind of saving the day. They get out of there. Sasuke comes. Legitimately, honestly, there is not much of a change in what happens here, because let's quickly break it down here. We have Naruto starting to train the Rasengan. You'd have Itachi and Kasami coming to get him. He has a sword, but you can tell that the other guy has a bigger sword. And obviously this is Itachi, which is Sasuke's brother, so he's clearly stronger than Sasuke is. You can't use Tenken in that room because it's just too big. You just carve up the entire hotel and just possibly kill some people. So there's not much he can do there. And this is not a Naruto who's a lot more intelligent or has a lot more skill compared to, like, say, original Naruto. He is stronger than original Naruto, but not just not by a huge margin. Then you got the Rasengan training, which Tenken could probably aid him in, admittedly, and quicken the process, try to give him some advice on it. Problem is, Naruto's chakra control is still pretty shit. It's not anything really amazing compared to what it is in the original. So he's still going to have to use the two hands, and ultimately use the clone. I do see that as is the case. Technically speaking, though, there is a fun thing we could have him do, but I will keep that to myself for the moment. And then you have the debacle with Tsunade. So I don't know if Naruto would use Tenken on Tsunade in the crowded street. I think, mind you, the only way he might do it is if he knows Tsunade can block, seeing how strong Tsunade is. That's the only thing I can see him maybe doing. But that, even then, is still not. Even Naruto in a rage isn't stupid. Like, he's had Tenken now for months, so he knows better than anyone when to and when not to use Tenken. So you would get Tsunade, making the bet. Naruto working on the Rasengan. I think one difference you have here is that Naruto actually gets the Rasengan down. I think that is the one difference, because Tenken, again, is there to coach him. So you ultimately get to the confrontation with Orochimaru and Kabuto. Now, this is where things would start to change. The initial thing going on with Tsunade and Kabuto and Orochimaru is the same. She's covered in blood. She's freaking out. And then Jiraiya and Naruto show up. Jiraiya tries to summon Gamakichi. It doesn't work. Gamabunta, it doesn't work. Naruto tries to summon Gamabunta. It doesn't work. So he summons Gamatatsu. What the hell are you doing? Where's Dad? I'm finally getting a chance to shine. Why do I sound like Mr. Hanky? I don't know. Gamatatsu is Mr. Hanky. Seriously. I don't know. Naruto's one of these series that did have a better dub than other dubs. I know people get on dub's case a lot, but Naruto had a legitimately good dub, I think. But Gamatatsu sounded like Mr. Hanky. I'll never get over that. I finally get a chance to shine. Howdy ho! Anyway, so And, so Tsunade comes, tries to attack Kabuto. This guy can go toe-to-toe with Kakashi. Yeah, dude. Naruto comes in. You're dangerous, Naruto. I know that for certain. I remember seeing that sword of yours in the exams. Problem is, you can't use it in close quarters, can you? And which Naruto's just, it's not a sword designed for that. It's not a blade designed for that, is there? Which means you can't really attack me. You can't attack me without risking them. It's like, and Naruto, gets pissed off, but he actually cracks a smile. It's like, you're half right. It's like, huh? Yeah, I mean, if someone's in the way, definitely. But if you take a look take a look behind you, I'll let you. Who do you see behind you? So to which Kabuto's like, what? And then Kabuto looks. It's like there's no one behind. And so Kabuto really immediately realizes it. And he's like, roar! And then it's like, grab! And he has to dodge it. And now Naruto is able to, continue to push the attack on Kabuto, keep him at a distance. Like, you're through! And then Naruto just flips the sword right in front of him. The blade comes down in front of him, and Kabuto just hits the blade. Before Naruto then just slams his hand down. Kabuto isn't prepared for the other hand. It's like, ugh. It's like, what? Where'd that hand come from? It's like Tenken's ability. And Orochimaru's watching this as he and Jiraiya are duking out on top of the snakes. And Orochimaru's like, what? Such power. That boy is dangerous. And Naruto's like, Tenken's ability isn't to manifest a giant sword. It manifests as any part of any part of my body that moves, including and suddenly throws a kick and the giant leg comes and just boom, just blasts Kabuto, just boom, which skips him like a stone. Fortunately, it's Kabuto and it's Naruto. These guys can survive a lot of damage. So basically, despite being human. And granted, he's healing himself as he gets hit, but he's still skipping. Just damn it all. And then hold on, Perry Sanders. He just cleaves the snake, and the snakes go poof. It's like, nice work, kid. Nice work, kid. And it's like, yeah, you're dangerous, boy. Too dangerous to be left alive. And it's like, where do you think you're going? And Lion's Mane tries to catch Orochimaru, but Orochimaru just grabs Jiraiya, and they basically are duking it out. It's like, and Naruto's like, I can't attack it without hitting the pervy stage. It's like, I know the weakness of that blade. It's powerful. It's large. It's powerful, but it's not. It has no finesse. It's got no fine to a point attack. Yeah. So as long as I stay close to your sensei, you won't be able to do anything, will you, Kabuto? And then Kabuto's finally able to heal up, though he's still worse for wear. Gets in there, gets it towards Orochimaru, and it's like, do it. And it's like, as Orochimaru is able to push Jiraiya back. Summoning jutsu! Come on, come out. Jiraiya tries to summon again, and I still don't think at this point in time he's able to summon Gamabunta. We know time had passed in the fight, so his chakra reserves had to increase to get at that point to summon Gamabunta. It's like, Manda, and he summons Manda. Beware of take out the boy first. And Naruto just said, why should I, and it's like, so that's what it is. Fine, you owe me 100 human sacrifices after this, Orochimaru. And, it's like, you think I'm scared of some snake? And Manda, being the boss snake and a lot faster, actually grabs the blade in his mouth. What the? It's like, you think you can stop me, boy? The tail comes out. Crap! And just suddenly uses his hand to grab it with the other part of Tenken. And now, so the blade of Tenken and the arm of Tenken are holding Manda at bay, kind of. Manda's actually holding Tenken at bay. Just, can someone? I can't hold him forever. Can someone summon something, please? And Tsunade's still freaking out at this point. So, she's because I gotta, damn it, come on, come out! Summoning jutsu! What? And Tsunade's like, Tsunade, please, you gotta do it and she sees Naruto, she sees his determination on his face. And, well, I don't think he's over her fear of blood. She is able to stop the shaking temporarily and summon Katsuyu. It's like, he just lets go. He just basically lets the Tenken blade disappear in Manda's mouth, and then gets out of the way for them. So it's like, Orochimaru and Amanda, Tsunade and Katsuyu, you the dear old friends. You have a hanky, Jiraiya. I think I'm going to cry. It's like, Naruto, stay out of this. You've done more than enough. Now let us handle this. And they have their fight going down. Shizune goes to kind of help Naruto, who's overall fine, but probably could just need some medical evaluation just to be safe. And they're duking it out, and just and Mon is able to keep up with a lot of them. To be fair to both of them, we saw how he's able to kind of go toe to toe with them. The question actually was, who was the strongest of the three Sannin summons, Katsuyu, Manda, or Gamabunta? We never really see, I think, the full capability of the other two, Manda and Katsuyu, and we probably don't know all the jutsu that Gamabunta knows. I think you hear that whistle? I think for the sake of, what we see, based on I think Gamabunta was probably the strongest fighter there, because we know he could actually do hand signs for legitimate jutsus, is the thing. So it's very likely he didn't just know water bullet jutsu, he knew probably a bunch of jutsus. And being a toad, I mean, they all had nature chakra access, but he actually maybe could Gamabunta do a sage mode, do you think? Maybe? There's nothing to say he can't necessarily. He's got huge chakra reserves, we know that, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing on that. Those two, they are continuing their fight. It's going roughly about the same, but ultimately, Naruto's like, I got one more thing ready, and Naruto starts to prepare a Rasengan. But there's a catch here, as Gamabunta or Tsunade puts the blade through Manda's mouth, and Orochimaru and Kabuto, get beaten down. They're far away. It's like you're a distance enough away. It's like, wait, Naruto, what are you doing, Naruto? It's like, it's like, he managed to learn that technique. So he actually did it. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, it's like, all you're going to do is hit the ground. Yeah, no, not just the ground. And all of a sudden, there's a shadow overhead. What Naruto figured out how to do, because he's connected to the damn thing, and the sword's activated a part of him, is that he created a Rasengan using Tenken's disembodied arms. So there's this massive, because Tenken also has its own separate chakra. That is the weird thing about the Zanpakuto. It is both a part of you, but separate at the same time. It does have its own Ryatsu, not just your Ryatsu as well. So the fact that Naruto is probably pumping a lot of Ryatsu in him to do this, certainly. A lot of Ryatsu, a lot of chakra in there to do this. Maybe even pump it into a bit of Fox chakra. And he can already feel himself being exhausted by doing this. This is probably like a last resort move because of the amount of chakra that's been... Because Tenken's able to aid Naruto with some of its chakra, but most of this is Naruto's chakra. So basically, this is all of Naruto's chakra, or majority of it, being funneled into one massive, huge, you can see the comparison, how big one of the hands of Tenken really is, as an idea. Sajin, the character that I got Naruto's face put on here, is around 7 some odd feet tall. That hand is about the same size as Sajin, roughly speaking, area-wise. So that means a Rasengan is probably like a 7 by 7 foot Rasengan. So a square foot radius, about 40 feet, roughly speaking, in a giant sphere. That is a massive ball of chakra coming down on him. Not as big as the Sage Mode Great Ball Rasengan. And he summons, bringing the fist down, and they're trying to quickly go into the ground, and then boom! And just crashes down. And Naruto just nearly collapses. Did I get him? And unfortunately, Kabuto and Orochimaru are gone. They didn't make it out unscathed, though. Well, when they get back to their base, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, it looks like they got away, kid. Although, and though they see some blood, it looks like they didn't leave unscathed. He didn't get nailed, but screw that snake and that traitor. I need to nap now. Oh, because it's and before he passed out, he's just like, "Hey, Grandma, don't forget about our bet, okay? I win." And then Tsunade kind of still shaking, but ultimately is able to get over it as she sees this kid who's just like amazing and reminds her of Nawaki and Don, and just like, "And to be Hokage, that's your dream, right?" And so, she hands him the necklace, and her disguise starts to falter as you get the whole, you gotta call me the 5th Hokage, oh man. And so Naruto and her Have that one more confrontation. He kisses him on the forehead, and all's well that ends well. They go back to the village, wake everyone up. Kakashi, Sasuke. Now we know that they're going to send the Sound 4 after Sasuke. But as I mentioned, they didn't get out of that attack because that's not that whole melting of the earth transportation technique, as far as we can tell, is not a fast technique. It's not an instantaneous movement kind of thing. So when they got back, Orochimaru's one of his arms is gone. He's like missing his shoulder. Fortunately, there's medical ninjutsu for that. Kabuto, though, is also missing an arm, and it's got like a chunk of his side taken out, and he's just trying to remain stable, just to not bleed out. So they both had to basically rely on some like jutsu or artificial like limbs and stuff like that, which luckily we know you can do. And Kabuto is a skilled enough medic, and Orochimaru is a skilled enough scientist to probably be able to do that. So they're both recovering, and they send the Sound 4 after. It's like, bring Sasuke to me, and if by chance you find that crescent blood in Fox in Cherokee, kill him. So the Sound 4 go after him. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sakura go to visit Sasuke. Sasuke still, wants to fight Naruto, and so they duke it out. Naruto, brings out his blade, and he's fighting without releasing Tenken, so it automatically means that he's fighting handicap. But it also means that he's fighting at a much higher level than he did in the original. Him and Sasuke were going relatively toe-to-toe for a bit, but Sasuke was the better fighter thanks to his Sharingan, and just having better training. And because he has a sword, Sasuke has to play a little bit of a back fiddle on that. So they're a lot more evenly matched. Ultimately, it ends with their clash, which gets stopped. Sasuke goes off. Kakashi gives him the boss speech about grow the F up. Basically, that's what he said. Grow the F up. Sound 4 come to, get Sasuke. There's nothing that changes, I think, in that interaction. And, he leaves. Sakura's like, I love you so much, I can't stand it. It hurts me. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever, Sakura, sure. And he knocks her out. And so the Sasuke retrieval team's got to be formed. And it's formed by the same group. It is Shikamaru, Choji, Naruto, Neji, and Kiba. Now, the question is, because of Naruto's extra abilities, does he get put in a different spot in the lineup? I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's a fun little factotum, if you will. It's a good question. I don't think he does. I think because of his shadow glance, I think he's still going to be put there. You get the Jirobo situation. I think Naruto with Tenken could probably bust out of there. Probably, but Shikamaru, he probably suggests it, and Shikamaru says it's actually not the best option. No, it's our last resort option, but not the best option, probably. This is due to the fact that it's so large that it's still a risk. There's a risk to us too. So, and to be fair, it's the giant's arm is, and Naruto. He points out too that to Naruto that you mentioned that the giant's arm it moves in tandem with you, but it's also a fair bit out, which means you're not summoning the giant's arm in here. You're summoning it out there, correct? And Naruto actually has. Yeah, crap. You're right. I wouldn't. The best I could do is aim it straight down, but then I'd be stabbing it down on us. So unfortunately, that's not going to work. And I don't know where this guy is the problem. So I can't just cleave. I mean, I could try to cleave through this entire thing, but I'd be too much of a risk to us. So they get Choji to do his thing. He fights Jirobo. Then you get the Kidomaru fight, which ultimately I don't think changes that much. I think Naruto maybe takes a swipe with Tenken, which levels some trees. But there's no evidence to suggest that Tenken would have anything that would be able to cut through the chakra web. So it would kind of get... I mean, maybe if it's just sheer power and force it could do it. But there's no 100% evidence on that. Either way, so then you get Neji with Neji against Kidomaru. You get Naruto against, the other group, the other guys. And... it's like, we had a standing order to kill you, and he catches Naruto's Rasengan. Like, well, because the technique if you can't throw it. And Naruto can't even grab his sword at this point. It's just crap. And then, Kiba and Sokka go down for their fight. Shikamaru and Tayuya have their fight. Naruto goes after Kitamaro, gets Sasuke back. His Fox Chakra is welled up. And so all their fights go about the same except for Naruto, who's just, give him back. And Kitamaro is immediately going through a bunch of the Narutos until they pull out their swords. And now they're able to actually kind of put up a fight because he is a swordsman, Naruto. He's competent too. Kimimara's probably got more experience at this point, but he's competent as a swordsman. So now it's not just him bursting through clones. Now it's him and Kimimaro actually having a fight. And Naruto knows as well, even though he's got chakra pumping through him like a mother, he still can't really use Tenken effectively in this scenario because his chakra is displaced. It's the one caveat about Zanpakuto that I like to throw in here, that because the nature of a Zanpakuto is the same but different, like with chakra instead of Ryatsu. I like the idea that the Shadow Clone Jutsu is actually a hindrance on Zanpakuto use, because it's splitting your soul and your chakra and all that in many different forms and weakening it. So I like that in the concept. But as Naruto gets down to like some of his last clones, he's like, hey, all right, we got enough chakra for this thing. Roar, Tenken! And all of a sudden, Kimimaro just gets blindsided by this sword that he heard something about, but he just didn't. Boom, he gets thrown back. He's still alive because of his bones. But it's like, ugh. It's like, I see. So this is what Lord Orochimaru mentioned. No wonder he disliked you. That is a dangerous technique indeed. And Kimimaro starts basically summoning these. I think he actually goes full on to like that bone lance he does it on both arms. And I think he actually activates the curse mark because he knows this is a guy I really actually need to. I thought he was just an idiot, but no, he's actually pretty dangerous. Now just brings down the sword again. He's moving fast. He suddenly brings down the arm and just grab Kimimaro just as he's about to stab Naruto. Naruto grabs him, throws him, but gets cut on his hand as he stabs the giant's arm and giant's hand, and it's about the same. They're going toe to toe now, throwing just giant haymakers, kicks, blades, then giant and everything. And he's hitting Kimimaro, and Kimimaro's hitting him. Eventually, Kimimaro realizes, as he's seeing Naruto's hand is bloodied, where he never hit Naruto's hand, that because he hit the giant's hand, he hit Naruto. And while we have no evidence that the Shikai has the same ability as the Bankai, it would make sense. We've just never seen the Shikai take damage before, but we've seen the Bankai take damage. So it actually would make sense that anything that happens to, say, one of the limbs in the Shikai would still translate to the owner. And Naruto's just like, is that the best you got? As the Fox's chakra is starting to fade, he's like, okay, I've got enough chakra, and I've still got the Fox's chakra. Well, I still got the Fox's chakra in me. He actually accesses a bit more of the Fox's chakra just to be safe. The amount he is safe to use. And then all of a sudden, just Rasengan! All of a sudden, Kimimaro is faced with a giant 7-foot tall Rasengan. And he and the Rasengan clash and starts to crack one of the bones and just starts to reinforce his bones and Sasuke. And Naruto doesn't notice what Naruto failed to notice was Sasuke had gotten out of there a short time ago, and Naruto suddenly realized, wait, Sasuke! As he sees the explosion, Sasuke gets out, and he just barely sees him heading on. Sasuke, you're not going anywhere. And then Lee comes in, and he's like, Naruto, go and get Sasuke. I will take care of him from this enemy from here on in. And so Naruto's like, thanks. And Naruto is now a bit exhausted, but fortunately he's been using just mostly the Fox's chakra for this, so he still has most of his own. And so he's following after Sasuke, wait, no! And Lee and Kimimaro have their fight. Now, luckily for Lee here, Kimimaro is actually really haggard from that fight. Naruto might have actually won that fight, granted with difficulty, had the fight continued in this version. And because of that, he just goes straight into second form because he doesn't have a lot of time left. And he starts beating on, like, Lee can't keep up with this guy in second form. He just can't do it. He says he'll go only to the first level, and he tries Primula, doesn't work. He's about to, he's like, oh no, this is not good. And then Gar shows up to save his ass. And fortunately, the fight actually goes a lot easier for Gar because Kimimaro is pretty much on death's door. And at that point, croaks. The fight goes on for a bit longer before Kimimaro just finally dies. And you're like, I was like, thank you for your help, Garthus. It's no problem. I wanted to apologize also for what I did to you. It is okay. I am good as new. Wait, I hope for us to fight again as rivals and friends someday. It's like, okay, sure. And Gar's like, weird. And so Naruto finally, and everyone else's scenario, Taiyo versus Tamari, Kankuro versus Sokka and Ukon, that goes the same. So ultimately, it comes down to Naruto versus Sasuke at the Valley of the End. And that is where we're going to leave part 5, I believe I'm at 5. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.